Do you know how to hold the line? So, what do I mean by that? First of all, right now, it's that time of year where there's a lot of family drama. Don't tell me that there's not. You know those people that they just, you know you're going to see them, or you know that there's somebody's going to do that in-between thing that they do to try to get you to make peace with someone else. And, you know, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is hold the line. Even when other people tell you not to. Even when other people want you to play into their little games. Just choosing not to play into that. So I've gotten really, really good at holding the line. And last year, at this time, I was holding the line out of the most love and reverence because I just knew that there was something I really wanted, and at the same time I knew it wasn't, if it wasn't going to work, I do not want anybody doing anything for me out of obligation. First of all, when you really, really love someone, you don't want them to deplete themselves or do things that they're not ready for just to make you happy. And you don't know what somebody else's circumstances are. And you know, I've just been looking at this, looking back. I always had that kind of idea that, you know, if people only knew what I was going through, they wouldn't ask me to do this thing. I was a little bit of a black sheep growing up, where people would say, oh, you have to do this. And I'm like, but I don't want to do that. And it's like, yeah, but it's family. You have to do it. I'm like, but I don't want to. I'm like, yeah, but that means you don't love them. It's like, no, I love them. I just don't want to do this thing. And it would go back and forth and back and forth. And then I had kids. And once I had kids, I was again expected to participate in the family dramas. Only I really wanted to protect my kids from the family dramas. So I chose not to. I chose not to do it. And the only thing I wasn't able to do was hold the line with a partner. Because I was really focused on making the other person happy. I was in a codependent situation. I will admit that I was very codependent at one point. I'd been trained to be codependent. I'd been trained to basically go along with whatever family issue was. I needed to make peace. That was a survival mechanism. And I don't blame you if you had to survive things. If there was a lot of drama and you knew that if you said something that would upset this person and then it would upset this dynamic and then this person over here would get upset and it would be a big mess. Like, you know what I'm talking about. You say one little thing and suddenly everything blows up and people are like, oh, we have to leave because such and such happened, and they make it a big production. And then everything is about that drama. There were certain family members we weren't allowed to talk to. We're not talking to this person right now because they did this, and they drag you into that drama. And I don't play that game. People can stay mad at me. I'm like, okay, whatever. Fine. They don't want to talk to me. Fine. I don't care. You can't punish somebody with your distance if they are in integrity. So if somebody is punishing you with silence right now, giving you the silent treatment or being petty, it doesn't bother you. But then there's another side of this, okay? Because some people, they're not giving silence because they hate you. They're not giving silence because they're necessarily mad at you. Maybe they're giving silence for another reason. Maybe they're giving silence because they just don't know what to say. Maybe they can't say anything yet. Maybe if they take that step, something else falls apart and they're just not ready for it. And they know. Well, in that case, you got to give that distance and you got to hold that line. And last year, I got really good at holding the line. I actually surprised myself with how much I was able to hold that line, both with people in my family and also with others that mean the world to me. I mean, it's been a year since I had even said that I'd promised my true love I would hold the line for him. I said it. It's like, you know what? I want you. I love you. And I'm here for you. At the same time, you got to be ready. And if you're not ready, it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter. Like, you've got to believe it. You've got to be ready. And I know you can do this. And I know that when you're ready, we're going to have a great time. But until then, I promise, I'm going to love you no matter what. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. I'm going to love you. No love's going to be lost. And if you need to take space, you take space. No love is lost while you're doing that. And yeah, it's hard. This is really hard for me. And I'm sad and I miss you. And I really would love to have you. But again, I want you whole. I want you ready. And I'm not going to push you into something that you're not ready for. So I promise that I'm just going to show up for you. I'm going to show up for you every day. And I'm just going to love you. Wherever you're at, I'm going to love you. And I'm also going to hold that line. I'm not going to budge on this line. I'm going to hold this line. I'm going to hold you to that standard. I'm not going to manipulate you, and I'm not going to have you come in when you're not ready with one foot out the door. Like, no. When you're ready, when you're all in, you can come in. But I'm going to hold that line for you because I know you can reach this. You can actually do this. Besides, if you're not giving what you feel I deserve, you're going to feel bad about yourself. And I'm not going to let you do that. So, no, not happening. Not on my watch. I love you too much to do that. And I love myself too much to compromise. And I know you don't want me to compromise. So we're not doing that. I'm holding the line. And I did. I held the line. And I've also held the line with people that in the past I would have been guilted into letting them back in. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. It's like, yeah, but that's how they communicate. And it's like, no, not with me. It's not happening anymore. They can do that with others, but they're not doing that with me. Because part of holding the line isn't just to get others to rise up to their own standards, but also for yourself. So I hold the line with my family. If my son is treating me in a way that's not okay, I'm like, try that again. Because that is not the energy that I'm going to put up with. And if he decides to mock it and do his little 11-year-old thing, I'm like, okay. And I get up and I walk away. And no, I'm not going to apologize for something that I didn't do. And I'm not going to beg for forgiveness or diminish myself in any way, shape, or form for people that they know I didn't do anything. I'd already apologized. And I'd already attempted to clean up my side, and I did clean up my side. So no, I'm not playing into the game. They can be passive aggressive and petty, and I'm not going to put up with it. And same thing in my business. Recently, I just finished something really cool. I mean, I've been working on this now since last year, back when I first decided that I was going to do this, because I'm like, I'm answering the same question over and over again. I'm talking about my method over and over and over again. I'm talking about what this does for people over and over and over again. And I need an easier way. So I created a starter guide on my website, and then I added a whole bunch of videos to it, and I added all the relevant links Because rather than doing a whole bunch of spamming of links to everybody all the time, it's like, no, I'm going to put one link and then it's going to give it for everyone. And then within the starter guide, I've been adding to it over the course of this year. And this is another way I hold the line. I even put it through ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is one of my best friends now. And I put through my entire guide, all the copy. And then I had ChatGPT spit it out back to me. It's like, what is the experience that somebody reading this would do? And then ChatGPT spit it out again. And then it also gave me suggestions to improve it. I'm like, okay, that's great. But what I really want to know is, what's the experience right now? And how does this apply to the different human design types? And how does this adapt for different types of people that would come on? So I wanted this start guide to be the first thing that any collaborators saw, any empowered moms that were trying to look for a way to solve their problems would find this. And even just random people that were like, I don't really know much about your method, but let me keep an eye out for your ideal client. Now they have everything. So I asked ChatGPT again, how does this work? How does this tie in? And then it spit it back out to me. So when you do that, it's like, what is the experience of every single person? And how can I still hold my boundaries? Because that was it. It's like, I don't want to have to get on random phone calls and explain my method. I would rather just drop this to protect my energy. It's like, I don't want to have to take on tire kickers in my community who are just not going to implement. And ChatGPT's like, this stops the tire kickers right in their tracks. They're going to take one look at that and they're going to realize, oh, I can get all the free stuff, but I actually have to take action and implement it. And there is a completely free path to do that, but I got to do the work. It also filters in the people that are like, I just want the fastest path and I will work with you and I will throw all the money at you. It also talks about my book. It talks about my program. It talks about my freebies. It talks about my Empowered Birth Toolkit. Like, it talks about everything. And the idea was, I want to be able to just drop one link and say, well, what if there was somebody who wanted to know how they could work with me as a collaborator? Does this achieve my result? And again, ChatGPT told me the experience and like, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted. Are there any other things? Like, here's a challenge that comes up. How does this overall creating the start guide solve this challenge that I've had in the past in my business that I don't want to happen at my next level? And ChatGPT again spit it out. So holding the line for me is being like, look, I gave you the link to the start guide. Did you read it? Well, no. Okay. Well, read the start guide. If you have any questions around that, let me know. But I don't have the time and capacity to be able to get there on the call or try to explain my system to you again. I can answer quick questions, absolutely. I'll go deeper. I'll go 10 layers deep on everything that I have in that guide. But get to the surface level first. Right? If people just want the surface level, make it easy for them to just get that surface level without your involvement. So even within my holding the line, there are certain people within my family that I will let them know the surface level, and I'll let them even know the 5 layers deep level as to why I am not going to do the groveling or let people in or let people do things that they were still doing. Like, I'm not playing that game. I'm just not. And here's why. And I'm in integrity here. Like, I'm not doing it. No. They're not getting access to my social media because they were misusing it. If they're not going to misuse it, I'll consider it. Relay that message back or don't. You don't have to. But no more enabling. No more enabling. And you can do this right now. I know that, especially for you in the States, American Thanksgiving is upon us. There's a lot of drama. Go back and watch my videos from October where I talk about being in integrity. Because I had my own Thanksgiving and there was some drama. And I was able to navigate that very easily. I was sharing about things that I was learning and I was being dismissed and treated like what I was doing was ridiculous. And I just shrugged it off. And I focused on the people that I really wanted to talk to. And I held that line. I'm like, no, I'm not going to let you make my thoughts dumb. I'm not going to let you tear me down. I'm not going to let you try to one-up me. It's not happening. You don't get to do that. I was having a conversation over here. You decided to come in. Fine, you want to come in. You're playing at my level. You can't handle that. That's fine. You don't have to play at my level. You can go play with other people. But you got to play at my level if you're going to play with me. And if you're not going to do that, it's okay. I'm not going to make you wrong for it. You're not at that level. Okay, fine. But you don't get to tear me down. You don't get to do that. So maybe there's people in your family that aren't playing at your level. They can either rise up or you can go find somebody else. And if you can't find somebody else in your actual family dynamic, that's where you build your right support. That's where you build your own family. I adopt family. I adopt brothers. I adopt sisters. I adopt people all the time. And some people leave my circle and others, they stay. But I'm constantly rising and you got to play at the level. And the same thing when you are basically going out and building your business. You have different levels of your program. You have different levels of your system. So people have to play at different levels. And when you recognize that people are at different levels, then you can create something that will address all of them. And that's basically what my start guide does, is it addresses all those levels. And then it goes layers deeper. And it's like, hey, here's the surface level. Here are your categories. Choose your own adventure, because everything's a choose your own adventure in my branding. And everything is like 10 layers deep. The deeper you go down my little rabbit hole, like Alice's little wonderland. And I really, really think that when we recognize that there's certain people that they come into our life for a short time and then we just keep rising, we don't have to make anybody bad and wrong. We can just recognize where they're at in the game. If they're at level 3 and you're at level 38, your stuff is not going to work for somebody who's at level 3. It's really not. You can go back to the basics, but the basics are going to be so boring for you that you can just give them something free and then take your energy away from it. That's why tutorials exist, so that you don't have to be stuck at the beginning. That's why they have all of these little guides. So yeah. And of course with romantic partners, it's the same thing. Can they step up? I mean, when you get to a certain point and you've recognized who it is that you want, you just have to see, are they ready? Are they all in? Do they still need a little bit more time? I mean, if they do, that's perfectly fine if they do need more time. But if they have just been waiting for the opportunity, Well, the opportunity, when it's the right person, I mean, in my case, my true love could reach out. We could do something as soon as tomorrow. Kids get picked up kind of later in the evening, but it's not totally off the table. I don't mind staying up a little bit later. I can sleep in. No rules saying that we have to get up early in the morning if we are staying up late at night. But I promised my true love I would hold the line for him, and I have. So if he's ready, take that next step, he can. And I mean, when you really, really embody this, it just, the peace that you feel. People can be like, you should really talk to this person, and you should really reach out, you should fix this. And if you know that that person is toxic, and you're like, there's no way. There is no way that I'm going to subject myself to that ever again. Like, they would have to do a complete 180 and actually fix a lot of things for me to even consider letting them back in at that point. Well, then you don't have that shame, you don't have that guilt, you don't have that obligation. Maybe you don't have to go to certain things anymore. You don't have to deal with that energy, you don't have to be drained. It's just so peaceful. Anyway, I am going to go and relax. I've got some messages I need to get back to. And I love you. And I'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful weekend. I know I will. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I know what I'd like to do. I know what I'd really love to happen. It would be really nice if it happened, but if it doesn't, I've got things to keep me occupied. I've got some videos I can edit. I can pull from transcripts. I can read. It's a really good book I've been reading so far. And yeah, I'm completely detached to outcome. I know what I'd like, and I also know that I can't rush things. It'll all happen when it's meant to. And yeah, just trust. Anyway, if you want to go deeper with this, as I said, I go 10 layers deep on everything. So you can just go and follow my YouTube channel, Carly Bonderud Uncensored, and I mean, all the videos are there. And right now I'm taking the transcripts and I'm pulling some wisdom from that, and I've been adding that to threads, and I'll probably go deeper with that in the future, because every time I pull even from my own genius, I'm like, oh, I can go 10 layers deep with this one sentence right here. So yeah, anyway, I love you. Namaste.